The Spanish announce table.
Tom, so last week we had all kinds of content to talk about. Then, we finished recording the next day. I'm working on the show, and the news breaks that Bischoff and Heyman are back in the WWE, and they are in charge of some shit. And so rather than re-record parts of the episode, we figured, hey, let's let it mellow. We'll wait a week. Everybody else will react, and then we'll come in and we'll talk about it. So what do you think now, about a week removed?
My first thought was, that's an interesting move. Did we forget about Triple H, Stephanie, and Shane? That was my first initial thought. I was like,
maybe we didn't. Maybe they had their chance.
That's what I'm saying. So something happened there. I don't know what, if it was either, something that they approved, like, yeah, hey, Triple H may have said, I just want to focus on NXT, build that out. And Shane goes, I'm not really into that anymore. I'm focusing on other things. I'll still be an on-air character. And Stephanie was like, nah, fuck that, right? I don't want to work for Vince in that way. I don't know, but something happened there. So that was my first thought. My second thought was, okay, let's wait and see. Because one thing in that press release that it made sure it was clear about is that both Bischoff and Heyman still answer to Vince McMahon. It wasn't hey, so Vince is going to be transitioning out of this role and, looking into XFL and all this stuff. It was like, hey, these two people are going to be doing this. But remember, it's Vince McMahon who has final say. So I go, well, what the hell does that mean? And then my third thought was, let's be positive and patient, and let's assume that it is Heyman having the control he needs for Raw and Bischoff having the control he needs for SmackDown, and we see their visions of pro wrestling in 2019. So let's just assume that. I think it's a perfect move for both guys. I think what they want Raw to be is a more Raw show, and Heyman is a perfect fit for that. He knows how to blur the lines, get up right to where the censors get a little
like, hey.
Yeah, sweating a little bit, but then not going over the line. And then I think it's perfect. I thought of the two, the real perfect fit is Bischoff overseeing SmackDown as SmackDown moves over to Fox. You're going to have a guy who knows what it's like to answer to the Ted Turner, TNN, TNT people of the world. So he's not going to be a fish out of water, where I think even though Paul Heyman had a deal on TNN, it's a different level than what Bischoff was dealing with, having meetings with Ted Turner. So I think Bischoff, again, if we're assuming that they have the control that they need, Bischoff is a more suited director or executive to walk into those meetings talking on behalf of WWE with Fox executives other than Heyman. I thought the placement of both guys were really strategic and really well thought out. Again, though, let's see, because it said, as I mentioned, Vince is making the final call, and we know what that really means. We heard the Dean Ambrose podcast, and we've heard CM Punk, and we've heard some other people, AJ Lee in the past. So we have some reports that maybe Vince isn't the easiest to just sign off on anything. We'll see what their vision looks like in 2019. What did you think?
I agree with you on most of these things here. The individuals placed on their respective brands obviously is a good fit for each of those gentlemen. Bischoff, this is what he does. He's done network television. He's done cable TV. He's done movies. He has a media production company, was the bulk of his wealth anyway. So this is what he does, and that's great for that move over there. And you're right. I mean, nobody can do Raw better than Heyman, I would believe. The reason I think anybody that would be the executive directors of these two brands is still going to answer to McMahon. I think they put that in the press release because people were going to ask that question, right? So put in what they're going to ask. But yeah, I mean, I do believe that these are guys that he will believe and he'll listen to argue with him, if that makes sense. That means at least he's got to recognize that he needs to be argued with a little bit, I'm hoping.
Let's hope, yeah. We'll see.
The Triple H thing, I think also that allows him to stay the version of that on NXT, which has done really well. And I don't know that you want to mess with that. Something was needed. This is definitely a splash. If it's what it says to be on the surface, we will see, I guess.
The Spanish announce table.